Hey guys, Mark from 42freeway.com. So yeah, a big thing happened in Bellmawr at the billion-dollar direct connection project there. A wall collapsed, one of the main support walls holding up the core 295 roadway there. Again, happened on Thursday, March 25th. I do have a day job. So if any of my coworkers are watching this, I want you to know the day job comes first, because I think this first got reported around 10 a.m., maybe earlier. The irony is I drove through that way that morning at 7 a.m. to go to my accountant for my taxes. I didn't even look up to notice. But thank you guys for letting me know. So all I could do at the time is Ann from South Jersey Observer, she put up some photos on Facebook. It wasn't a web post. I shared her post. It went crazy. Collectively, between her photos and my sharing, I think she picked up like another 1,500 likes on her page. So there's a big win there. So in this video, I'm probably going to go long, but I think you guys really need to hang in for this because it's going to be a lot of fun. Straight up, I'm giving you my theory on what happened here. I am not a civil engineer or a construction engineer. I am a software engineer. But I looked at a bunch of things, listened to some people who are in the engineering fields, and I got we got drone video. Mike Kruce Photography has some drone video. I have video from 2-3 years ago of the project. I have video from last year. I have video that I took just this week. And we're going to match it all up, and I'm going to show you, and I even have some like little animation depictions to show you guys. Even a prop. I'm going to pull out a prop, so hang on. At the end of the video, I know everybody's been working hard over there. I defend this project left and right for what it's going to achieve when it's completed, and the work that the guys are doing there. They're just men and women. They're just doing an amazing amount of work over there. It's tough to keep a roadway like this, going, meaning the traffic's still going, while just completely reconfiguring everything. And I have a separate video coming along still to explain again how this roadway is going to help everybody. So anyway, but at the end, I do talk a little bit about, I think we can do a better job, New Jersey Department of Transportation. I've emailed you guys last year about this. I'm going to share some of that. Just keeping the public informed, what the delays are, what the next phases are, that Browning Road Bridge in particular. But anyway, let's jump into the meat of this. So this is, if you're not familiar with this long intro already, what you're seeing right here is that embankment there, that wall is the core new 295 roadway. So before you would go this is the key thing of this project, by the way. You go all the way around that Aljo's curve, sharp bend. It's way off to the edge of way past the edge of the screen here. This more straight road is 295. That wall, as you can see, it's definitely dipped down. It's pushed out. I took this video, this shot from a video. So we're going to move to the next one. So this was maybe a year ago. This is a drone footage that was provided to me. This is what's on top of that embankment there, that roadway. So there's like 7 lanes of road this is going to be. I share this because it's deceptive to people. You don't realize when you're down on 42 or even looking from Browning Road how wide this is up there. That area right here where we stopped, that's pretty much where the collapse was. And you'll see that in the upcoming drone video. Sorry for the jerkiness here. Again, this was provided to me. I'm like, hey, great, I will use it. So, you have more lanes on the inbound side because we've talked about this in the past. There's actually 2 sources, 42 North and 295 North, will be merging in on the right side. The right side facing traffic, but our left side looking at it. Anyway, so this is what it looked like a year ago, maybe February 2020. This is from Mike Kruce. Like Bruce, he said, Mike Kruce Photography. This guy does real estate photography, drone photography. He just, I'll put a link to his website on the YouTube page and the my post on the website. So you can see right there on the right-hand side, obviously it's pretty clear, there is a big gash in the roadway. Actually, what's happened there is that right edge of the roadway has pulled away, depressed, pulled forward, and then you can see the dirt in the front. And we're gonna come back to these types of photos multiple times. There is a photo going around, by the way, on Facebook of where it's pretty obvious to me it's someone from the engineering firms, construction firms, or New Jersey Department of Transportation was right on that roadway. You can't get to that roadway unless you're part of the development crew, and it's a pretty powerful photo. I didn't want to use it in my video. There's fair use rules. I didn't want to embed it in the video. Maybe I'll slip it onto the webpage. I don't want to embed it in the video and then have someone come back to me and say, hey, I own that photo. There are some fair use rules for news organizations, but so here's a close-up of that same shot. Now take a look to the left. I'm going to reference this tractor. Actually, it's a trailer right to the left a couple times, and there's another image where it's even more impactful, like to kind of give you a scope of how big this gash is. And then again, look at that berm. I call it a berm. It's a a pile of dirt pushed up on the right there. We're going to go through quickly first some of Mike Kruce's photos. Here's another great shot, so you can see that that tractor. That's the full size of a tractor trailer on the upper left there, right near his logo. And then look how large that gash is. I wanted to point out in you can see how deep this is. This from this other photo that I don't have in the video, this is probably 15 feet deep, the gash. You can get a sense here, and I should have pointed it out when I brought up the first photo, how the wall has pushed out. So you can see it here. Maybe we do a zoom in. That sort of bulge is not natural. This was a nice, smooth contour, consistent contour. So that bulges out. And again, there's that pile of dirt in the front. So that's going to be a key factor. I'm already giving you guys some clues here. All right, so this is a video I did. Let me get my hands on the right keyboard buttons here. This is 2018. So one thing, people always talking about this project just never moves along. So this is 2.5 years ago. At that point, as you can see, literally none of that upper elevation was even there 2.5 years ago. Over to the left, you can see the green sign, and up to the like up above it on the right there, I'll point it out with an arrow, I guess, is the tunnel, which is actually, people are using it. It's finished. So that's the tunnel. But my point is, with this is, restart it. You don't see any of the roadway, but you also don't see any support columns. So see these columns here? They are not in the middle of the roadway. I don't actually think this is a factor, but I know some people, this is just another angle I had. Some people had said, oh, there's support columns in there. Basically what they are is those support columns are actually at the edge of this elevated backfilled area. And that's so that when the bridges come across, they have something solid to mount those upper bridge sections to. So the main thing, what I'm saying is that core sort of roadway that has been finished for, a year and a half, 2 years, it doesn't seem like there's any sort of support columns going like down into the bedrock. From what I understand, that's fine. These retaining walls are made to function like that. But let's carry on, and maybe some engineers will factor into the quote. All right, now we're going to go into some video I took Thursday. So this was the day of the event. I went over there after work. I'm standing at the church at let me get that cursor out of the way. At the Bellmawr Church there, seeing Wapham. Somebody correct me if I'm saying that right. So you can see how much this is dipped. Now, mind you, I'm not actually level with the roadway. I think I'm lower. So basically, this is dropped even more significantly than this photo shows. You can see that trailer parked up there. We're going to move this along, and you can see how this road has kind of bowed down and bowed out. I kind of focused on this. I like the fact that it's nothing of this is funny, but the actual street lamp is actually bent on an angle. So that's the first part of it. That's just the core bowing. I'm going to zoom in here. Now, I want to call out where I'm going to take this theory of mine is that I don't think this wall failed. The wall itself, these plates, the fact that these things are still holding, you could look at this and say, oh my God, look at the separation. This is not I don't believe this is the cause of the failure. This is oh damn, this thing really held together. And if it didn't hold together, things could have been much worse. Which is why I point that out. So, mind you, with this whole bowing, the whole separation, that structure of the wall actually held together. All right, so now we're going to shoot over to the other side here. Now, one thing I want to point out, stop the video, is look to the far left where the grass meets, the slope of the grass meets the wall. Notice how it's just a nice sort of, consistent angle going into the wall. Now, as we start panning across to the right, which we're going to start in 2 seconds. Here we go. We start panning to the right. You can already see, right? It's sort of bulbous. Berm. Where am I getting these words from, guys? But it's like the dirt was flat and kind of pushed up and making like kind of like if you went to your bed and you pushed the covers, and you kind of made a bulb. That's what's in the front here. And then it continues across to the side. There's the piece that I called out. And then you can start seeing on the right there how it kind of goes back into more of a gentle slope. I think there is sort of a little flat piece of land there, maybe to drive a truck on or whatnot. But it's for the most part it kind of goes right into the wall. So something is definitely different. Not only is where I'm getting at, not only is the wall obviously collapsed and pushed out, or not, just sunken, I guess is a better word. But something's going on with that dirt. And so the question is, who's causing what here? And that's what we're going to get into. All right, so this shot here I took, I think it was a year ago. It's a little blurry because I had to zoom in to get there. But what I wanted to point out is, look at the grass and the dirt in front of the wall here. It's just, it needs to be mowed, I guess, but it's just sort of a straight angle going up to the wall, maybe with a flat area. There, that bulbous piece. Well, let's just look at this, guys. So look what I did here. At the top, it just looks like it goes straight into the wall, but on the bottom, after the incident on Thursday, you can see how the dirt has definitely changed its style. It's like a wave, a wave ready to crash into the wall, a wave of dirt. So, and again, so you can see that here, Mike Kruce's photo. So I'm really going a big, out of my way here to point this out, that this facet of the issue. So, pressure. What I think happened here, this is where we start getting into my theory, which I'm putting out on video. I'm pretty much going to stand by it, and if I'm wrong, I can't be that wrong. So here's my prop, balloon. All right, so if I have this balloon and I push it, that's pressure. I'm pushing the balloon, but there's nothing on the other side, right? So it's just going to move out of the way. No big deal. You're with your buddy at the bar, and he says something funny, and you push him, and if there's no one behind him, he'll step back. But what happens if I do? Oh, sorry about the camera. What happens if I do this? I'm pushing down. Now my other hand is there to put resistance there. Now what happens to the balloon? The balloon changes its shape, right? When I did this, it just kind of moved. Maybe there's a little little indentation from the balloon, but it bounces right back. When I do this, the balloon changes its shape and it pushes out, right? So think about this with a truck. Look at me with these fancy graphics here. So we all know, like, a truck's very heavy. Here's a truck loaded with logs and timbers. It's putting weight going straight down. Makes sense, right? The reality is, the pressure actually is going down and out. Like, that dirt, this is a physics thing, I guess, just wants to get out of the way wherever it can go. Now, with this scenario that I'm depicting here, and I have the stop signs there, is because this is a flat piece of ground, the pressure wants to go down and out, but it can't, right? Because there's other dirt in the way. It blocks it. Now think about this if you step, in mud, right? You step in mud and you push down, and the dirt kind of goes out and around, and it comes back up, right? I should have gotten it's raining today. I should have went out and got a photo of my foot in the mud. But you know what I'm saying? Like, the mud comes up again. Now, takes us to another step. Here's a house with a basement. This actually happened to me. You've seen in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation when Dad got his Christmas bonus and he was going to buy a swimming pool. Well, when I lived in Bellmawr about 20 years ago, we got a hot tub. So this was our house, this was our basement, and I went to get a permit for it. And I was told I needed to get an engineer's review of the hot tub because I wanted to put it up against the house. We had a deck coming off the back of the house. We put the hot tub there. If you aren't aware of this, a gallon of water weighs 8 pounds. There's 400 or 500 gallons in a hot tub. So you're talking like 4,000 pounds of weight, not to mention the people. And you're right next to the basement. So if we go back to my truck depiction, it's not only that the weight is going straight down into the ground, as depicted by the arrows, the weight's going to also want to go out. And the concern from the township at the time, and why I needed an engineer's report, is I had the wall of my basement right there. And the concern was, would the weight of that hot tub push down, push out across, and blow out the wall of my basement? And I think, I found some of these photos, again, fair use. I don't want to use them, but there are many photos online of just, not even with something of a hot tub, but just whether it's erosion, water, basement walls getting blown out. And I think you see this a lot in flooding situations when a town will flood, and even if it's like 12, 18 inches of water, it puts enough pressure, it blows out the basement. And I have that stop sign there again because on the other side, there's just the dirt continues. So let's go back to this is my depiction of the Bellmawr Direct Connection project. So at first, as I said, you got the road on top, that gray thing that depicts the wall that they put in. They have backfill there. I've seen some people online call out that it looks like sand. It does seem to be a lot of sand. Maybe it's a mix down below. I'm not even so sure the sand is a factor. So as we talked about, it puts pressure going down. But the reality is, as we've just talked about, and I'm not a physics professor, but that pressure wants to go down and out, down and out. Now the wall itself is strong enough to hold the fill in. And because in this depiction, I'm sorry, let me correct that. This isn't necessarily the Bellmawr depiction. This is just a standard depiction. If the ground is flat going across, like they have these same walls at the softball field at Bellmawr Park. There could be a concern there, but if the ground is flat, that pressure kind of is held up by all the dirt and earth around it. Here's what's different about the Bellmawr direct connection wall. Remember this picture? Look what they did. At the base, at the bottom lowest level of the wall, the ground does not continue out flat. So that pressure is coming down and it's going out. This is what we really have at the Bellmawr 295 direct connection project. So the challenge here is when that weight and that pressure, and it's been raining a lot, and that rain adds up, even if there's a sewer system, drainage system there, the pressure comes down, it wants to go across, and look. The ground does not continue there. And as we saw, there's no support columns going down to the bedrock. I don't believe there's any support columns coming off those barrier, the retaining wall. I don't know how far that goes down. But it doesn't matter. Like, basically, I think that the retaining wall did its job. It retained, it held up. So you get that pressure coming down and across, spreading out, like my balloon. And doesn't it sound very similar to my depiction of the house, right? With the hot tub and the town at the time being concerned that the weight of the hot tub would blow out my basement wall. I really feel it's the same problem that happened at the direct connection project. Now let's go back to this photo that I've shown maybe 3 times from Mike Kruce Photography. See what I'm saying here? Weight on top, even though it wasn't, there were no cars, thank God there were no cars or traffic, this wasn't live, but you got the weight, you got the dirt, you have some rain, pushing down, and what I think happens here is, it's not that the wall itself necessarily gave out, but the footing and the dirt underneath it started pushing it. Imagine, let me see what I got here. I got a box here. Say this is the wall. It's sitting on the dirt. It starts, the ground underneath it from the weight starts pushing out, and the wall kind of goes down on it. Out. So, this is the, I forgot where I'm at in my presentation here. So this is the final slide here. So the point is, I believe these retaining wall structures are actually very solid. They're used all over the country, used all over New Jersey. They're used all over this project. They're very solid. They're nicely engineered. The thing is, though, they need to be developed. And I don't know who approved the foundation that are on. But what I feel is the way this project was developed, with the slope of the grade coming up to the wall, it enabled this so that the pressure could not be held back from all that dirt and all that fill. And it's a large amount of fill, right? This is 7 lanes across. No, is it 7? Maybe 6 lanes, but shoulders. It's a lot of fill. It's a lot of pressure. And now notice, it didn't collapse on the other side. That's because on the other side, you have flat land up higher from the cemetery and the mausoleum that's there. So it didn't crash over there. It crashed on this side. This was the path of least resistance because there was no extended ground path. So that's my theory. I'd love to hear. I'm going to share this on Reddit and some of the civil engineering groups. I'd love to hear comments and feedback. Tell me I'm crazy, but I think a lot of, if not most of what I'm saying here is on point. So the challenge is, how do they fix this? I'm not entirely sure. If they need to keep that wall like that, the ground graded like that, because there is roadway, 295 north, 42 north to 295 north is below, and the roadways. Do they have to re-engineer this so that a foundation for this barrier wall goes deeper down into the bedrock? I don't know. All right. So this is the, look, again, New Jersey Department of Transportation, the construction crews, you're doing an amazing job. This is a tough damn project. And someone asked me this question before. This project is federally funded. It may be mostly federally funded, but it's New Jersey Department. They're putting up the money. The federal government's putting up the money. It is a NJDOT project, and they're contractors. So a couple of frustration things, though, that aren't necessarily with the workers themselves. It's just with the communications, and me being a blogger, I like to know things. So first off, this goes back to 2019, this email. I sent this to the media folks and the project manager on this project. This is almost 2 years ago. And at the time, I'm calling out, guys, this Browning Road bridge, temporary bridge, is, what's going on? It's been delayed. My point is, 2 years ago, I had already felt that this bridge was delayed. It was probably a year and a half going. I mean, so we may be 3 years delayed on that Browning Road Bridge. I think I have a picture. This is the bridge here. So basically, this bridge is going to be rebuilt. They're actually going to build a temporary bridge next to it for the commuters, rebuild this one higher. And I believe what's even an additional significant factor of this is the main 295 roadway is going to go over top of this, and I don't think they can do that work without this work being done. The point is, it's been 3 years. Does anybody have any idea, officially from anybody involved from this project, why this thing is delayed 3 years? I sent an email. I got some generic sort of answers. Oh, it's going to be done next year. I think I may have even asked twice, and I got Mark. As we stated previously, it will start as soon as we finish this next phase. Well, guys, that email was 2 years ago, right? But again, nobody's saying a word about this project. There's no sort of, you know what I want, Governor Murphy? I want a quarterly update from the head of New Jersey Department of Transportation, from your, the lieutenant governor, from someone just saying, here's our quarterly update. This is what we achieved. And by the way, I showed a bunch of things you guys got done in the last 2 years. But this is what's coming up, and here's where the roadblocks are. Like $1 billion. I haven't said that enough, right? $1 billion. This is a huge project. I think the public has a right to know what the heck's going on with this thing. So then this goes back to, a year ago, April 15th. I had sent a couple other emails. I got frustrated, and I called it out. A couple things what triggered me is they have this site, 511nj.org, and it's like mega projects, biggest projects in New Jersey. Literally, there's no bigger project going on right now between this one in Bellmawr at Direct Connection, and then also the Missing Moves, which is $180 million. And by the way, thank you guys for spending the money. And that Missing Moves project, you guys are kicking ass over there. But I go to this site, and they got like 2 projects listed in North Jersey. Not a damn thing listed about these massive projects in Bellmawr. They're not even referenced. The Missing Moves project, to this day, $200 million. You can't find one piece of information that literally on the New Jersey Department of Transportation site that tells you what the project is. It kind of has helped me because I'm the guy that's putting the information out, and I'm winning to it with the web hits. But there's literally not one plan, not one schematic, not one overview. You can't find a thing. Now, there's a lot on the Direct Connection over the last 20 years this thing's been going on, but none of it gets updated. We don't get talked to, nothing. So my whole long story is, it would be really nice that someone else gets involved and starts, talking to the folks in New Jersey Department of Transportation. Not to beat them up over this incident or the delays, but you know what? It's time to start letting the public know what's going on with this project. It's time to start letting the public know why that Browning Road Bridge is still sitting there 3 years untouched. It's time to let us know what's going on with this crazy incident. It's time to make us feel safe. Now, I feel safe in the other areas where these same retaining walls are utilized in this project, but you know what? I think something has to be said to that. This only happened Thursday. We'll give you some slack. It's not like you need to be doing press conferences on a weekend, but I'm not going to let this go, guys. And let me tell you, if you haven't seen it, there's a huge amount of people that follow my site just for these roadway updates. So we're going to keep up on this. I'm going to keep pushing on it. I'm going to send the folks in the Director of Communications office and others, I'm going to send them this link. And, I'm not going to stop until someone actually gets in front of a podium and starts explaining things to us. So anyway, guys, thank you for reading 42freeway.com, watching the videos, and please support Mike Kruce. Check out his website. I'll put the link in there. Like me on Facebook, like me on YouTube, etc., etc., etc. Thanks, guys. Mark 42 Freeway.